self-regulation is bodily functions, managing powerful emotions, maintaining focus and attention, alright? So, one of the things that they found that, my program at camp has been for many years, getting the cingulate gyrus to move so the gear shifter's not jammed, and activating that outer cortex for the logic and the reasoning and the schoolwork. And I figured, well, that back part, if we aren't using it, it'll just kind of, like your muscles. If you don't use them, they just kind of get smaller and back to whatever. So I thought, okay, we'll just do that. Well, they found, even though this part was really active and they were much more logical, it took years for that back part to get to a normal activity level. Until Dr. Bruce Perry found the 6 R's. And the 6 R's was the things you did yesterday, the drumming, the cups, the walking, that kind of thing. And he found when you do repetitive rhythmic movement with somebody that you trust leading you, having fun, that kind of thing. So he calls it 6 R's. That back brain stem, the fight, flight, freeze, where we get all the arguing, all the fighting, heals in 4 months. And it doesn't cost anything. I like it, because a lot of therapies cost a lot of money. So I try to find ways that we can do as much as we can at home. There are certain pieces that we can't do at home that we do have to have a therapist for. But healing the brain, we can do at home, okay? So the 6 R's are relational. They need to do them with you. Okay? They can't just go pound on a drum for 7 minutes and fix your brain. It's got to be with a leader. Relevant, there's some point to it. Repetitive and rhythmic is, when you're doing the drumming. One of the moms I worked with did a piano, and she played a note, and her big teenage son sat next to her and just played the same note an octave or a couple octaves higher, and then they played the second note to the song. Then they played the third note, then they played all 3, then they played all, until she called me one day, she was crying. I said, I don't even know what to say. I said, what happened? Because they were doing so well. What happened? And a lot of times we got, and she said, my son, when we were eating breakfast this morning, we had finished the song yesterday and we played a duet and it was just so much fun. And this morning he said, Mom, couldn't we learn another song? She said, my son, who hated me a few months ago, asked to spend time with me, sitting close to me on a bench, doing something together. She was so happy she couldn't even talk. She was just crying. Like, yes. All right, so the 6 R's. We gave you a few ideas yesterday just so you know what the fun is, but I got a whole list. So they have to do it for 7 minutes. That's all. We can squeeze 7 minutes in. I mean, I like to do it like right after breakfast when we're all sitting together, right after lunch, right after dinner. So that's 3, because we're already together and we can do hand clapping or whatever. Sometimes I'm stuck in the canyon, they're doing construction, whatever, and you're sitting in your car. We do drumming on the steering wheel, drumming on our legs. We got 7 minutes, we're gonna do it. I park farther from the school or the bank or the grocery store, clear on the end of the parking lot, so I got 7 minutes to have them do what I call baby ducks, where they're following on walk, walk, skip, skip, walk, walk, hop, hop, walk, walk, skip, skip. Don't do it with a teenager. Okay? It's not bonding. If you do that with an older child, it's not bonding. No. But the little ones, they're okay with it, and we do it. We don't want to embarrass a child, but they're like happy with it. So I just found ways to squeeze it in where I could make it work. Some of the schools work with our children, and they'll get 2 or 3 rounds of it in during a school day with the elementary schools, so that we can just do a couple each day or do some extras on the weekend. But we just do the best we can. Sometimes you just can't get all 5 of them in. So they have to be done 5 times a day to be able to heal the brain within the 4 months that they were doing. And then what happens, you get the hand clapping game going, and we like to make up a little rhyme our own. And there's all kinds of maneuvers that they do, this, and the hand clapping game. So if you put together like, Thomas Family Rocks or whatever, with your family as the chorus, and then a verse for each member of the family, like this particular child loves soccer and ice cream or whatever. So, and then it's like your family cheer. So then when a child starts to dysregulate, they start to fall apart, you see them starting to lose it, you can say, hey, let's do that hand clapping game. And it's amazing how quickly they can then self-regulate. Okay, but they've got to learn it, and we've got to get some healing going on the brain. Today, if they're losing it, and you go, let's do a hand clapping game, they're gonna go, no. Because they're not able to shift as quickly as they need to just yet. Okay, so we use it for that, but the main point is the healing. So you can go for a walk, some kind of rhythmic pattern to the walk where you're doing it repetitively, hand clapping games, sitting in a rocking chair. The rhythm of the rocking is repetitive, relevant, rewarding, respectful. It's got all 6 of them. Sitting there rocking your child, okay? Jumping rope, bouncing a ball, mini trampoline. You have to have 2 mini tramps for that to work. You can play catch with a ball or beanbag where it's just rhythmic back and forth. Well, that gets really boring, okay? So we start going, okay, let's name different colors. So green, blue. Then we try to name different kinds of ice or different kinds of desserts. Well, there's 5 billion different kinds of desserts, but pretty quickly you can't think of one. And then everybody's laughing, and then you're throwing the beanbag. So we just make it fun. Have some fun with it. Drumming, we did yesterday, dancing. There's cultural dances. I'm Irish, so we have an Irish jig. There's German polka. There's Native American hoop dance. There's all kinds that are part of our culture. We didn't know that we were healing our brains when we were doing the Mexican hat dance. We didn't know when we were practicing those for the 4th, we don't do the 4th of July, we do St. Patrick's Day. I'm Irish, I know this. Okay. But, you know, whatever it is, just fun things. Action songs like head, shoulders, knees and toes, head, shoulders. Those are rhythmic, repetitive. You know, they do the little kindergarten, 1st grade things. Really, really helpful there. Playing the piano, skip-its. Boom whackers are these tubes that have a different note for the length of the tube, and you just whack them on the back of a chair or a piano bench or, you know, picnic table, whatever. And you can play Mary Had a Little Lamb or Row, Row, Row Your Boat, and it's just fun, repetitive, easy. Music, that's boom whackers. Basketball drills. My children wanted to play team sports. Well, they weren't team players. You put them on a team and it's a disaster. So I didn't put them on a team after I tried it once and it was bad. But they wanted to play sports. I'm not an athlete. I'm terrible at that kind of stuff. But I found Pistol Pete Maravich was a powerful Christian man who played professional ball, played through college, and then as a superstar basketball player back in the day, he started camps for children to learn how to shoot, how to dribble, and I didn't know about Bruce Perry's 6 R's at the time, but I got, and they're free on YouTube, we used to have VHS tapes, and we did basketball drills. Every day we'd just go out and just do some basketball drills, and you know, they would do them and I'd catch the ball and give it back to them, so I was just helping as they did it. But my children were starters on the high school basketball team, even though they had never played in a team, because they had the skills from that. As God was leading me to do 6 R's when the research hadn't even been done, because he wanted his children healed. So, 6 R's, that's it. Don't be a parrot in life, be an eagle. A parrot talks way too much and can't fly high, but an eagle is silent and has the willpower to touch the sky. I saw that little poem and I thought, there's a few children that fits for. All right. We talked about building the nest, okay, and then the mama lays the eggs, and they were working on hatching them. So we are going to talk about eggs. So I have, I don't know if you've met my turkey out here. She is a Royal Palm turkey. They were developed in Florida. We have some Florida people here. And they were developed in Florida not for meat, but for eggs. She lays 100 eggs a year. And this is one of her eggs. They're a little bit camouflaged. She has a little bit of a design on there, and that's how big a turkey egg is. This is from one of our chickens. Our chickens are French breast eggs. So that's a regular chicken size egg, and that's a turkey egg. So when I'm like making pasta or something, that's about an egg and a half. Sometimes you do 1.5 of a recipe, and I'm like, oh, that would be a turkey egg. We got it. Okay. So then I hatch quail. These are some of my babies, and the girls have been naming them. But the little black one with the yellow underneath is a pink. I call her penguin. And then the little tiny one they call Squirtle. And the other one is an Egyptian. So I don't know, she's probably named Pharaoh or something Egyptian, like Cleopatra maybe. But I just brought those out so you could see the babies. So this is a quail egg. So when they hatch, they're that big, which is tiny, and then they double in size just about every day. So these are a week and a half old, and I don't know if you can see the little thing there, but they, oh wait, let me show you one more thing. This, okay, so that's a chicken egg. This is a goose egg, but it's the same size as an eagle egg, and it's blown out, so there's no egg in it. This one we'll probably eat for breakfast tomorrow. But so you can see the size of an eagle egg compared to a chicken egg. All right, so that goes back in there. But when they're gonna hatch, they make a little, it's called a pip. And then they do a whole row of them that is called a zip, because they like make a zipper, but they're squished in there. They're curled all up and they're squished in there, and they can't move very much to make the pip. So they have a little knob on the end of their beak that's designed just to make the pip, to open the shell. So they work like this, pecking hours until that shell just opens up a little bit, and you can see I have a couple of big incubators that do like 100 and some eggs at a time, and you see that little edge on there, and you know somebody's working hard trying to get out, because they can't like run at it because they're squished, so they just do a little, you know, and then they work on a little spot next to that one, and then a little spot next to it, till they have the zip. And then the zip, they just leave a little edge on it, so it just opens, okay? So these guys, you can see the lid's completely off on that guy, but it has like a little hinge, and it opens, and they just lay there, and they're all wet, they come out. But sometimes they'll get this far, and I like to cheer them on, come on, you can do it, come on, you can do it, you know, and they get that far, hours later, nobody's out. Sometimes it's 10 hours, nobody comes out. And these are, quail are from, they're Japanese quail, but I have Celadon quail, which lay blue eggs. These are the blue egg layers. The ones I have out there lay the camouflage eggs. See how they're all spotty? God did that because creatures love to eat quail eggs because there's a lot of vitamins in them. So it's harder for snakes to find them, to eat them. It's harder for the magpies, the crows to come and take them. So they can hide them in the grass a little bit better. The blue eggs, the magpies spot real fast because people figured that one out. We messed it up. But I have to hide the eggs. Anyway, so the little bird is like in there, and I'm like, come on, you can do it. I can see movement, but it's not coming out. And I always used to feel like, you know, I just need help. He just needs a little. I'm just like, open it a little bit, and then he'll be able to come out, and it'll just help him. So I would open it a little bit, and they'd go, oh, they have so much easier. Every one of them died. Every one of them that I helped died. And I'm like, what's up with that? What's up with that? The struggle that they do to make that open makes their neck strong, and their head is too big for their body. They have to have a very strong neck to hold their head up. When I help them, I take the struggle away and cripple them for life. So they're not strong enough to hold their head up and eat and drink and do what they need to do. In helping them, I killed them. Okay, so we are gonna trade children. So I want you to, temporarily, okay, these are not your permanent parents. They're just gonna practice with somebody else and then you're gonna go back to your real parents, okay? So, trade your child with someone else so that they can practice on yours. Everybody trade children. Okay, perfect. All right, now, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna teach you exactly how the brain shifters have to go. So we're gonna learn 5 different brain shifters, and I'm gonna have you do all the details for that. So when we're doing brain-based behavior interventions, 3BI is what the rest of the world calls it. Anybody who's been to camp calls it a flight check. So when you call and you're talking to me and you say flight check, I know exactly where you've been, okay, even if it's 10 years from now, because we're all connected through that. So we want to make sure we're clear limits and boundaries. When we get in the car, I want you quiet. One sound, there's going to be a 3BI. Okay, 3 steps. We have them do a brain shifting action to help the gear shifter to get up here to the logic. Then we ask to see if the logic part of the brain is working with 2 words. We say, what happened? What do we say? What happened? That's it. We don't say, what did you do bad? What did you do wrong? Because that has shaming and blaming in it, rather than we're just trying to sort it out. We just want to see if the brain's working. That's all. So, a brain shifter, what happens? And then what are you going to do to fix the problem? Which often is an act of kindness. But sometimes they broke something or they spilled something that they need to clean up. So they need to have an act of resolution. So, brain shifter, looking for logic, and an act of taking care of it. Then it's dovetailed with these 3, which are hugs. They do a brain shifter, they get a hug. They come up with the logic, what happened? They get a hug. They come up with a solution, they get a hug. So we're correcting and connecting at the same time. There's no pain involved, there's no shame, there's no anger, it's action. All right? So we're going to start with the brain shifters, and those are the hugs. Train children. Oh, we did. Okay. Okay, ask your child what their name is, and they need to call you by Mr. or Mrs. or Miss, whatever. And so, because these are not your children, you can't hug them. So you're going to give them a high five. They get hugs from their mom and dad and their grandma, and nobody else in the universe hugs them until their heart is 100% healed. Okay? So, everybody else can high five and all that. So, when we're giving an instruction, we say, I want you to, because the direction literally enters the brain in a different place than a request. None of these children are ready for options or requests. All of it is directions. I want you to sit here, I want you to come here, I want you to go there, whatever it is. I want you to. Everybody together?
I want you to.
A+. Woo. All right, so we don't say, I want you to, okay? Because it implies I'm asking, is it okay with you if I give you a direction? Like, well, no. Or I need you to implies there's a weakness in me that I need the child to fill. That's not true. Would you please is a request that they will opt out of. We are going to do sitting. Well, are you going to sit with them? I hope not. You don't need it. Okay, I've had parents say, we have anger issues, and we are working on our anger issues. I'm like, you both have anger issues? Okay, good to know. You know, but the child's listening to us. So we need to be aware of what we're saying. Okay? Because you did chewing with your mouth open, now you have to strong sit. Okay, now you're going to strong sit. Now you're done strong sitting. Now, to make it up, you have to clean the kitchen. Whose brain was working? The parent, not the child. It didn't do anything to help the child. There was no healing of the brain. There was no forward movement. Parent did all the work, and the child's just going to resent it, and they won't sweep the floor. They'll just fight you. Okay, so you can't tweak it. It's a lot easier to do that's fast. You did, I'll tell you the answers. It's like if you're doing your math homework, and I give you all the answers. Are you going to learn anything? No, we can't give them the answers. We can't even give them clues. This one, She knows exactly what she did. And she sits in there, gets herself under control, does something compliant, and then she tells the team what she did. I mean, all of them are very capable. They were there when it happened. They know the words that came out, they know the actions that came out, and if they can't think about it, it's because they're back here, and they haven't shifted yet. And maybe it's gonna be 10 minutes, maybe it's gonna be 10 hours. It's okay, their brain is that jammed. It's a good thing they have an awesome mom and dad to help them unjam it. Okay, we're gonna stay focused on their heart. Not our time schedule and our agenda, but helping to heal that heart. Okay, so, you don't wanna do that stuff. So, we're gonna do strong sitting. We usually call it crisscross now. It originally was named strong sitting by Dr. Foster Cline. Everybody, put your hands back to back, thumbs down, okay? Then make an X by raising your hand up, palms facing each other, thumbs down. Intertwine your fingers, bring your thumb up towards your body till your knuckles are facing your chin. Now, a lot of times they're up in your neck, you wanna pull them down a little bit. It shouldn't hurt. If you pull them down and it hurts, you're pulling them down too far. But you see how it kinda rounds your shoulders and pulls them forward? Push them back, but not up. Push them back and down, and that helps straighten your back so you're not sitting all hunched. If you sit hunched, we call that camel, your ribs are pushing on your lungs. And we're trying to increase the oxygen. You saw the different parts of the brain that need oxygen. When they sit up really straight and tall, it helps the oxygen move through their body, through the blood system around the neck and back. So they're sitting really straight and tall. Then my left arm is on the outside. Look which arm you got on the outside. Okay, then cross your opposite leg. So my right leg would go over my left leg. So if they're 14 and a half and older, we have them do it in a chair. If they're younger than 14 and a half, they're on the floor. Okay, unless they're in the car, then they're in the car seat doing it. Okay, so that's it, 30 seconds. They sit with their neck straight, and here they're facing me, which is too much sensory input. We have them like face a couch where there's no people, or face a wall. And I like to put like a little post-it note on the wall with a smiley face, or you're getting strong, or I believe in you, some kind of a little go-go you can do it, post-it note. All right, so everybody relax. All right, so parents, I want you to, I want you to have your temporary new child do a strong sit. So children stand up and face your temporary mom or dad. Okay. Okay, when you're ready, tell them what you want them to do. Good. So we just normally do 30 seconds, but that's by long. So say to the child their name and country. So I don't tell them I want you to sit this amount of time. I do tell them where I want them to sit. And I used to have those little bath mats. They have a rubber back on them and they're soft because it's hard on a hard floor. And their ankles, the ankle bone literally is on the floor. So it gets uncomfortable. So, and they knew where their spot was supposed to be. I called it the think spot. Hop over to your think spot, and then I would tell them when their time is up. But mine love to do 29 seconds. I'm just ready to call them. And am I done? Is it 29 seconds? No, it's 30 seconds. And if they turn around and talk, the time starts over. I say, oh man, it's okay, you can start over. Okay? If I do negatives, what part of the brain is activated by negatives?
Back.
That back part, the defiant part. So I have to say, you're not sitting straight. You're doing it wrong. You're doing this wrong. You're doing that wrong. They're going to be there a long time because I'm fueling that back part of the brain. So I don't. I mean, Judy, when she was teaching her son his numbers and his adding and subtracting, I have 8 doors in my pantry. And she would say, I want you to sit by door number 8 minus 2. So he'd go sit by door number 2. And he'd be there for 2 hours. And I'm like, is she going to tell him? And after a while, I'd go, and he'd get up and sit by door number 6. He knew exactly. It's just like, can't I manipulate on and control you? Can't I get negative attention? And she'd just be cooking or writing or whatever, fine, relax. If you get intimidating and stand over them and you They're back here, we're scaring them. But we're absolutely fine. We're eating the chocolates, we're writing the happy birthday to the people we love for the whole year. Whatever. Thank you cards that we haven't even gotten to gift yet. You know, we are so far ahead of the game here. And they're like, you don't get upset. It's like, I don't have to catch your upset. Okay? Our heartbeat, our brain, sends electromagnetic field. It sends a pulse that is electromagnetic. Okay, they measured it. It goes out 6 feet. Okay? Our heart has an electromagnetic field that they have measured that goes out 12 feet. Our heartbeat literally makes their heart go into sync with us if we're attached. And we're going to do some work on that after the break. So I have to stay.
You said 6.
So we're going to go to our second one, jumping jacks. Okay, so check you're not going to hit your arms on anything around you. All right, you good? All right, Christian, I want you to do 5 jumping jacks. And you say, there you go. Put your feet together. Not pretty jumps, jumping jacks. Go for it. Awesome. Okay, so his hands clapped at the top each time. He said the number when his hands came together up at the top. His arms were perfectly straight. Those were eagles. I saw eagles. All right. His legs went out and in, and his body went up and down. So you gotta watch all that. Do you want him to do 50 and you have to watch all 50 that every bit of it's done? They only need 5 to shift gears in the brain. So I don't have time to do 50. Okay? And they don't need 50. Could he do 50? Is he strong enough? Oh yes, he could do 50. He is strong enough. Absolutely. But I've had parents say, I want you to do 5, and they, I'm not doing, all right, then 10. I'm not doing 10. Well then 50. Well, I'm not doing 50. Okay, then 5,000. So we went from an exercise that's going to help the brain and help us connect, because I'm smiling in his eyes, showing him I believe in him, and I'm proud of the effort he's putting out, even if they're wrong. He's going to see, I'm happy he's trying, okay? So, he doesn't get up from me. While he's doing it. Some parents do. The child's working really hard over there and they're getting glared at. I'm like, wait a minute, soft eyes, okay? So, okay, don't listen. All right, Christian, I want you to do 5 A+ jumping jacks. All right. So wait, stay there. How many times did you clap at the top?
3.
It was 4. But yep. And how many times did you count out loud? Right. Okay, do them again. Okay, you don't have to do them again. But that's how we correct. They need to know we saw it. It's not what did you do wrong, because I don't know. I know exactly what you did wrong. And they usually know exactly how many times they clap, but he was told them to do them wrong. Okay, that's why he did it wrong. I told him. All right. So, and he got happier when I told him to do it. You're silly. Okay, so I want you to have your new temporary child do 5 jumping jacks. We have to fix them so they don't whack each other, because they're a little crowded. So you might want to have them do some, spread out a little bit. Okay, you know how when you're adding a column of numbers and somebody comes in and says numbers, how full it is? Well, when parents are talking, when the brain's trying to shift, they can't, what happened? What happened? You were in the dining room. Remember what happened? We were eating. Don't you remember what happened? And they're like, I can't think because you aren't quiet. So it's, what happened? Okay, 10, 15 seconds. The brain hasn't shifted. They need more time. It's okay. But we don't push, okay? So, good job, you guys. All right, I would like, I better show you what we're doing. Brain jumps, checkpoints are, they start with the child's hands on their own thighs with their feet apart. Actually, I need a demo. How about Augustine? His body wants to go that way. Alright, so you start with your feet apart and your hands on your thighs. Okay, that's called a pizza. It's like a triangle, like a piece of pizza, when they do pizza. Okay, then put your feet together and your hands up at the top. That's called pencil. It's like a pencil. So it's pizza, pencil, pencil. Alright? And the hands stay straight. They don't go up like this. They go eagle wing straight. Alright? Okay, I would like you to do 5 brain jumps. I know. Maybe a little bit over there.
He's too tall.
He is. Okay, how many times did you clap at the top?
0.
Right, and how many times did you say the number out loud at the top?
0.
Right, do them again. I know, it's embarrassing in front of people, it's hard to think, it's okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Excellent, all right, here, high five. Good, good, good. Okay, have your child do 5 brain jumps. Watch that their arms are straight, they're saying the number out loud, they're clapping at the top, the legs are out and in instead of in and out. Your eyeballs are open. Children, I want you to do them again. Let me tell you, but this time I want you to mess them up. Be so sneaky that they are not gonna catch what it is you're doing. Why you doing wrong on that. Okay, I want to know the parents you're doing it wrong. And see if they can catch it. Ready? Right. Parents, I would like you to pick whether you want them to do jumping jacks, brain jumps, or sitting. It's up to you, parents, and they're gonna do a lovely job. Now, go for it.
I want because it is 5 face match. I want you to face match.
1 and 2 and 2.
Whoa, wait, I didn't only know how to do it.
3, 5.
So then, ask him how many times he clapped at the top. Okay, wait. You're still, okay, good job catching it. No, once you see what it is, that's fine. We don't have to wear them out, just so you catch it. Do they love doing it wrong or what? I mean, that's awesome. Okay, the last one is extremely complicated. In case those weren't complicated enough, we're taking another one. And this one, I saw the research on it and I said, okay, we need to add that to camp. So I would just teach the parents how to do it, but we didn't really do it very much. And then I was at Yova in Jamaica and I was training the staff. I said, okay, I want to know who the toughest child is that you have here, you know, for your program. And they all went, oh, this one little girl, she's cool. The mouse goes nonstop and she all over the place. And it's perfect. I will take her tomorrow. And whenever you have time to observe, you know, stop in and see how we're doing. So they have a tutor that comes and she was in class and I thought, okay, if she does jumping jacks in class, what's gonna happen? Would you have your child do jumping jacks in church?
Distracts everybody else.
Right, they can't do their studies, it's a distraction, so I didn't want her to do jumping jacks or brain jumps, cause it's noisy and the counting and all that, so I thought, okay. She's from an orphanage, if you have a child from an orphanage do a sit, they go into a, and they can be there for days, cause they're used to laying in their bed for days and they don't go into thinking, they go into a coma more or less. So I'm like, alright, well, I'll try those brain boosters, those are supposed to be amazing, okay? Professors at Yale use them with their students in Yale that are learning to be doctors. Okay, they use them with special education students that have major learning problems. and it improves their behavior and their learning. So I'm like, okay, I'll try it. So she wouldn't do any schoolwork. She'd been there for 3 months and 0 schoolwork because she was busy instructing all the other students how to do their work and showing them what they were doing wrong. Does that sound familiar to anybody you know? Yeah. So every time she looked off of her paper, 1 second looking off of her paper, I would call her over and have her do 10 brain boosters. There's 5 jumping jacks, 5 brain jumps, 10 brain boosters, 5 minutes on the mini tram, okay? So everything's 5 except the brain boosters that's 10. How's that? Okay? Because that's confusing. So I would have her come over every single time her eyes went off the paper, 1 split second. She came up to me, I was kind of in the corner at the side. I had to do 10 brain boosters. I'm smiling at her, I'm giving her a high five back to the chair. And she did 32 rounds of brain boosters that day in school. I'm like, I hope that thing worked. So, and the next day I was over working in the boys' home with the boys, and when I came back to the girls' home where I was spending the night and eating dinner and stuff, she came running, Miss Nancy, I got a star on my spelling test. I thought, well, before I tell her what a great job she did, I better check with the teacher because she's probably lying, because it's why she's in a treatment facility, because she's got a lot of issues. So, well, that sounds, let me talk to your teacher. The teacher was just packing up, getting ready to go. And I said, you know, how was it? She said, the whole class was amazing today. She said, that little girl sat and did her schoolwork, and she got an A+ on her spelling test. It is the first schoolwork she has ever done in this school. And I'm like, I like brain boosters. We're gonna be doing those a lot more. I'm gonna be reinforcing those a lot more with the parents, because wow. And I've even had some of the teenagers that say, you know what, I can't think of something nice to do. Man, please do 10 of those brain boosters, because that'll help me be able to figure out an idea. I'm like, absolutely. And in school, we have them before they have a big test, go in the bathroom where nobody's gonna see you because it looks strange, in the stall, do 10 brain boosters, go in and take your test, score it, all right? So, we're gonna have everybody do it, well, almost everybody, all right? So, please stand. Alright, so I want you to take your left arm and bring it over your body and take a hold of your earlobe with your thumb in the front. Okay, everybody good there? Then take your right arm over your body, and I can't do it, but your right arm is the same with your thumb in the front, okay? Then I want you to put your tongue in the roof of your mouth. I know, it's weird. But your tongue is in your roof of your mouth now, so when you count, you're gonna sound like this. Okay, but I'm gonna take mine out so you can understand me. So when you breathe, on the way down, you breathe in through your nose loudly, and on the way up, you breathe out through your mouth. And then you say the number at the top. Got all that? So we're gonna bend our knees on the way down as we breathe in through our nose, tongue in the roof of the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in your handouts, make sure you can read those checkpoints on all those. Sometimes the printing isn't so great, and I didn't get a chance to look through my the books on that. So I think we're good on that. Miss Nancy. All right, on the mini trampoline, we aren't gonna do a demo on that, because I think you can figure it out just fine. But, they just need to take their shoes off when they're on the mini trampoline. There needs to be air between the mat and their feet when they jump. It's not just kind of a little thing. They need to just have a little air. Some of the children need to face away because they're making hate looks at another child or something. And so we have them face the opposite direction. It's 5 minutes. Sometimes they get bored on there. So I have them do eagle wings while they're jumping, or they can do a cross crawl that actually takes it up a notch, where they do the right hand over to the left knee, left hand over to the right knee. So you know, most of the time they're just jumping, but sometimes they've been on there and then I call them, what happened? I don't know. So I send them back over, what happened? I don't know. Send them back over there, like, okay, they're gonna be getting bored, so we have them. Alright, mini tram. So those are the 5 brain shifters. Call the child's name. Alright, so let's trade back so you get your very own children. And make sure you give your child a hug when you get them back. Whatever you call them to you. If you're sitting down and the child is as tall as you, as tall, eye to eye with you, or higher, you have to stand up. Okay? With a neurotypical child, and like you mentioned earlier, we get to their eye level. That scares our children. When we shrink, it scares them. They're looking for a protector from whatever happened in the past. They want to see us tall and strong and standing up. Okay, so we don't get down. You know, how are you doing? They're like, oh my goodness, if somebody comes in right now, you're not strong enough to take care of it. They need to see us straight and strong. So for a neurotypical child, that's different than it is for our challenging children. Okay? Call the child's name. We want to listen for a respectful tone of voice. Yes, mom. Yes, dad. Yes, mom. Has this child shifted in their brain? Nope. They need a little more time. Alright? Then you say child's name and come here. Have them sit in front of you. If they're too tall, have them sit down. Okay? That's fine. So they're looking up. That's so important. Soft eyes, kind voice. What happens? Can you hear everybody together? That's it. It's perfect. Even when you're frustrated, please just take a breath before you say it so it comes out kindly, or they're kind of just moving forward. We don't want to move them back here. Wait silently. Silently. Don't do, we were in the kitchen. Remember, you were eating. Remember, we had lasagna. Okay? You had your fork in your hand. They can't think because you're talking. And they're not doing the work. They're not lifting the weights themselves. They're not cracking the shell themselves. We're taking the struggle away. Silently. Then we have them go back and do another brain shifter if they still don't know the answer. If they did 5 jumping jacks and they had to do them over and over and over, I wouldn't have them do 5 jumping jacks again. I mean, once they finally get it right, then you say what happened. They still don't know what happened. I would have them switch to maybe a sit, because they're tired from jumping. Okay, we don't have to keep going back, but they do have to finish the jumping jack. I've had parents where the child's a mess on the jumping jacks. They say, okay, then strong sit. Now the child has 2 things they have to do right when they couldn't even do 1 thing right. The strong sit is very handy if it's in the middle of a meal, where you're already sitting down and you want to finish your meal. I don't want them doing jumping jacks when I'm doing dinner, because I want to eat with my family, and now I have to stop and watch every move they make. So base it on what's going to work best for you at the time when you're selecting which one you want to do, but I do switch them out. If they did jumping jacks last time and they're doing a moving one, then I want them to do brain jumps this time. So that they found one is a bilateral stimulation of the brain, one is a homolateral stimulation of the brain. So it actually activates different parts of the brain. So I want to use them both. I don't just like pick my favorite and that's all I do. I want to change it out.
So you're not saying, I thought originally you were saying you went through all 3 or 4 of them every time. So you're
No.
not.
You just pick one. Yeah, and as they get healthier, it's 30 seconds.
Right.
You say, I want you to sit, you know, I want you to hop over to your think spot, do your sit, and 30 seconds, what happened, they tell you, what are you gonna do about it, they tell you. And then when they do that for, you know, a few days or a week, we can see they know how to shift their brain, they've got that skill built. We eliminate the brain shifter. Then they do something, we say, what happened? They can tell you. And then, you know, what can you do about it? They can tell you. But in the beginning, what can you do about it? It's the same thing every, I'm gonna clear your plate, I'm gonna clear your plate. So they owe you for the next 5 years, clearing your place at the table, and they don't even remember. And it's their job to remember. If they say they're gonna clear your plate and you remind them, you did half the work. So I just, you know, finish eating and leave the plate there a little bit, visit, you know, and if they don't clear it, I get up and clear it. And then I say, what were you supposed to do? Oh, I was supposed to clear your plate. Right, so you can clear it twice. to get a little more practice in because you forgot. I don't remind them. Their job to make your bed or whatever they said they were gonna do. But I had a lot of children and I couldn't remember who was doing what and what was done, and it was like, woo! And whose job is it to keep track? Yours? No, it's their job to keep track. If they can write, okay, if they can't write yet, then you gotta write it down for them. But if they can write, mine, not the little 3x5 cards we use here for the flight checks, but a little bit bigger, they're like a 5x7, they're a little sturdier. I draw a line down the middle, I have them write, you know, I owe 1 back rub, okay, then they cross 2 back rubs. I like lots of back rubs, so I like it when they owe me 10. Okay, and 1 floor sweeping and the 2, you know, and then when they do one, I initial it so that I know that that's completed. And then I can say, how many acts of kindness do you owe? I'm down to 72. All right, you're getting there. Because they build up a lot that they owe as we're correcting. And it's fine, except my house got so clean. I had the windows were shined, the floors were polished, there was no dust anywhere, the dish, and I had to start going and helping over at the neighbors because we ran out of work. There were no weeds in the garden and everything. When a child doesn't speak clearly, or they're mumbling, or they're, you know, good job. I just say, go jump on the matron. Say ready when you're ready. Okay, that's one of the few times I'll let them tell me when they're ready. So they say, ready. I say, did you hear that? Is that the wind? Maybe it's a woodpecker. Might be a woodpecker. Ready. Yeah, I think we got a woodpecker. When you have a log house, you have a woodpecker, it's not good. You know, so I'm like, ready? Oh, that sounds like a child who's ready. Come on over here. What happened? Well, I was trying to tell you such and such. Okay, well, good job clearing that up. Well done. High five. Big hug. I hug mine. I don't high five them. Right? So,
I had a question on that. Repeat until you get the correct answer. Wait silently, no clues. Repeat. That's like when we're asking them what happened and they don't know. When you say repeat, is that repeating, asking them what happened, or you repeat the brain answer?
good. I'm glad you asked because that's confusing. So, we go back to step number 1. So I'm gonna have them do a different brain activity and then what happened and move forward. So we just keep going through all of them until we get there forward. Your little daughter Savannah needs a few of those before she gets there sometimes, and that's okay.
Is it okay to ask, like, the second time what happened?
No.
Or just what happened? Just,
One time, they've got 10 to 15 seconds, their brain hasn't shifted, they move forward. And she's pretty quick, when she knows, she spits it right out. What act of kindness would you like to offer? Not what are they gonna do, they're gonna offer, may I please? Not, I'm going to. They don't talk to grown-ups like that. And always hug, 3 hugs every single time, because we're connecting and correcting. Act of kindness, the child has to think of it. Now, sometimes, you know, they've gotten pretty good at thinking of things that'll make you happy. Some of them, oh my goodness, about the middle of camp, which is today, they start, you ask me, you know, what act of kindness can you do for your dad? And they think about, and they light up like that, and they say, my dad loves my back rubs. I could offer him a back rub. And they're jumping at the bit to give back to you instead of, well, my dad, my mom, you know, how they feel in the beginning. And it's so beautiful to see that. So, but sometimes they've done so much, they've thought, their brain's working, and I'll say, you know what, I'm gonna write a list of stuff that I need done to help me stay on track. And I write a list of stuff, I stick it on a picture, to help me remember. And they'll go by and kind of, oh, mom needs a wastebasket, it's all washed out. Oh, mom needs a couple of windows. And it'll give them some ideas if they want to. They figure that out, or they don't. But that's the only way I'll offer a clue. Otherwise, they can think of something. Okay, saying sorry, they're not sorry, and it's not an act of kindness, it's just saying something, so that's not acceptable. Giving you a hug, they don't give parents hugs, they get hugs from us. We're the ones who give hugs, okay? So that isn't it. I'm gonna be nice, well, they're supposed to be nice anyway, that's the list. And draw you a picture, well, I don't know about you, but I don't need any more pictures, I'm good. So if they're just to have some art time and they draw me a picture as a gift, that's fine. But it's not an act of kindness. Unless, you know, they're really an outstanding artist and they put tremendous effort into their art and they wanna draw this particular thing. I'm not sure what hand it is, but I'll tell her later. They write down the things that they did and, you know, what they're gonna do about it. But the things they owe. And when they break things, they need to pay for the repairs, all of it. Mine used to make holes in the walls. It was in the old days, so it was $10 a hole. And the cowboy would patch it and they would pay the cowboy. You know, as they got older, we taught them how to patch the holes and it had to look good. It couldn't be like, you know, a bulging piece of plaster they slop paint over. It needed to be A+, and then they're building some skills. If they ruin some clothing with scissors or ink or whatever stuff, they learned how to mend. Out, your little guy, his feet were going, and when the feet are going, and your son, August, the feet are going, it means I wanna get out of here, I gotta go, I can't do this, I gotta get out, but they didn't. They just did the body language of, it's too scary. All of them, a lot of courage, a lot of strength. All of you were A+. You poured the love in that they needed, it was beautiful, it was palpable. I mean, it was powerful. What you just did is the most healing they're gonna get in the next 10 years of their life. They will never forget this moment. One of the girls I worked with from a Russian orphanage who was in an institution, she was such a mess, turned her life around after camp and just beautiful human being, beautiful Mennonite girl. And I wrote her a letter one day. I said, you know, I just keep hearing you're doing speaking, and what was the turning point for you? What was it that made the difference, that you stopped fighting your parents and started reaching for the good things? And she said, it was the snuggle time. It was the snuggle time. She felt the power of her parents' love, finally, even though it had been there all the time. So I know that was hard. Thank you for you not running out of the room. You want me to do what? Because, yeah, it's a lot. And you were all A++. That was amazing. So breathe. Your hearts are huge. And I know they've broken your hearts.
Can I finish this?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So when we're doing that at home, we want to make sure we're getting the eye contact, we're getting the touch. If you stroke their face or their skin, it's more powerful than just rubbing their back. If you want to move your hand, you can do slow clockwise. So don't pat. It's very jarring when they're real raw like that. And it's a thing, you know, that we do to soothe, but it doesn't soothe. Not when they're this age and not when they're this raw. So we do either big circles or just hold them tight, right? Movement, if you can be in a rocker or a big squishy chair and rock, it helps them to soak it up better. We don't have that capacity here, so we just do what we can. Smiles. Lactose is milk and sugar combined. So our children need sweet, they crave sweet, and it just destroys their brain's ability to function. And our culture is sugar-based. So here at camp, we've removed all of that, and we want you to find healthy ways to give them what tastes sweet, but doesn't mess up their bodies, okay? So, anyway, the ice cream is part of that, and you all did a great job. This is Phil, do your job. Okay, touch is one of the keys to bonding, and a nurse sent me this years and years ago. It ended up being in the big magazines and stuff, but these little sisters were born too early. And the little one on the left with the yellow dot on her diaper was not expected to live. She was failing. Her temperature was failing, her blood pressure, everything was just not good. So they didn't put twins together in the same incubator in this hospital, but the nurse felt that the firstborn should be able to say goodbye to her sister before she passed away. And the mother was in surgery, so she wasn't available. So the nurse put them together. That baby put her own arm around her sister. The nurse didn't pose that. And when she did, the monitors documented her heart begin to reach for normal, her temperature, her blood pressure began to move toward normal, and she lived. That's how much power is in the touch of a premature baby. How much more power do we have to reach for our loved ones and, pull them to our hearts? I mean, it's powerful. So the 3BI has those 3 hugs. They're more important than anything else you say and do. And is it a time we want to hug a child when they just lied in our face or stole our stuff or broke something? No. Conscience development is so important. When we feel bad when we lie, we stop lying. When we feel bad when we steal, we stop stealing. Not because it's written in the law and we know it's wrong, but because I don't feel right. If I made you upset with me and hurt your feelings, I wouldn't be able to sleep. I'd feel terrible that I hurt your feelings because your hearts are important to me, right? So I have a conscience. Our children don't feel bad a lot of times. They feel like, score, I got your stuff. Score, I got the attention I want. I don't care how tired you are. They don't understand, and they haven't developed that piece. Stages of internalization are the stages of conscience development because we take in someone else's beliefs in what's right and what's wrong. We take in someone else's moral values, what they believe is important and not important. We internalize those, and then we carry them inside of us, and we hear the voice of the person that taught us. So, my friend gave me this picture. This is a 2-year-old or 3-year-old in Disneyland. What's she doing? Of herself, yes. She's taking a picture of her eyeball. She doesn't understand photography, but she sees the parent holding up the camera, and this is what we do. We take the camera and we hold it up here. She has internalized that behavior. She's going to be one of the moms who grows up who's always taking pictures of everything because it has internalized in her as a little one, right? So, the first stages of conscience development of internalization should be between the age of 1 and 3 years old. They see it, they want it, they take it. Oh, I still have your ice cream. You're good? It will be soup.
Okay.
I'm so bossy. Eat your ice cream now, young man. You didn't get it. So they see something, they want to take it. Little ones don't understand. Anderson will pick something up. He doesn't understand it. So he's not a bad boy on any stretch of the imagination. He's a wonderful child. All right, so that's normal up until 3. Okay, then they should be moving on to. I would take it. Mom or dad would be really upset with me. And they see parents as all powerful. That's why it's important that we stand up straight when we're talking to them, when we're hugging them. If they're so little, pick them up so they feel your strength and your power of the protector they're looking for. We don't ask them, do you want this? Do you want that? It's like, well, you decide. Okay, here, you need this. I want you to do that. We're leading them. Come with me. It's like, we were talking about that going into the jungle, okay? But which way do you want to go? All right, we're going to lead them. Then the third step should be between 5 and 7 years of age. I would take it, but my parents might find out and then I might get into trouble. Then the next stage, I'd take it, but if mom found out, she would be upset. So they know how mom or dad is thinking and feeling about that particular issue. They know, and they're still kind of playing the odds. Should I try it? Should I not? I'm not sure. All right, but the final stage should be between 7 and 11 years of age, where I would take it. But you know what? I don't feel good when I do things like that. Conscience stops us from doing those kinds of things. We know what's right, what's wrong, and we stop. But to move through there, to get from step 1 to step 2, they have to have someone they respect. If we abdicate our authority and let the child make the decisions, and you guys, I don't usually tell you, but I will tell you. When we gave you bandanas when you checked in at camp, you were all given the exact same instructions with the exact same wording on purpose. So we could see where you were as a parent, so we knew how to help you the best. And you were told, please put this bandana on your child where you want them to wear it. Some of you did. Some of you gave it to the child. Some of you asked the child where they wanted to wear it, abdicating the leadership we were handing to you. They're not ready for choice making. It's like, this is where I want you to wear your bandana. Well, I don't want to wear it there. Thank you for letting me know. You're wearing it where I'm putting it. That's the way it is. They need that strong leadership. Trust. Our children need that. They need to see us as powerful. 007 thought Jerry Thomas hung the moon and could save him from a mountain lion, and it was very, very clear. They loved this cowboy, and they were, a team. So, our children need that. Oh, Dad, you're here. I could just relax. Oh, Mom, you're here. You've got the ball. I'm okay. So we don't hand them the ball all the time. Do you want this? Do you need that? Okay, we're like, here's what you need. We're gonna take care of that. That strong, loving leadership, not military drill sergeant stuff, okay, but loving leadership. So, stages of internalization. Who would you say is the boss of this group? Big sister Lasha with the hairdo in the bosom? Yes, I would say so. Then next to her is the artist. She's in first or second grade. She's a little one. But she also has a bosom. And she has drawn herself next to Lasha. And she's leaning toward Lasha. She identifies with Lasha. And the two of them have more than half of the page. They're the most important. The one with the biggest head is the one that's the most intelligent. Alright? So then we have what says Big Brother Tyler. It's in crayon, doesn't show up real well. Does he look like a big brother to you? Nope. Look at the arm space he gets. Okay? He's got one eye closed. I think Big Sister Lasha has taken over the power in the house and the little brother squish. Okay, then it gets real scary. Big Sister Roka is reduced to a stick figure that's bald. After Lasha gets all that, she actually has the biggest head if you measure it, because Lasha's his head, all hair. So she's the most intelligent, but when a child draws a picture, unless they're 2-year-olds draw eyes like that, okay? And they're 3 and up and they draw eyes like that, they're saying something. When the eyes are like that, it means, okay, when your eyes are like this, what does it mean you're feeling? You're scared, absolutely. When we're afraid, our eyes get bigger, our pupils dilate to let in more light so we can see incoming danger. We used to do intensive therapy here where the therapist would come and stay for 2 weeks and do the, whole big release and resolve all the trauma while I helped the parents with the parenting and getting the chores going and all that kind of stuff. Years and years we did that. And all the apartments over there we had for the families. So the sexual perpetrator, the children who had done sexual behaviors on other children repeatedly, would tell their secrets when they got into therapy. And they'd say, when we lived here and I went to that school, I heard this child, and that child in the bathroom and the bushes out on the playground. Then when we moved over here, I did the same things to this child, and this child. Then when we moved here, and the parents were shocked, they had no idea. None of those children had ever told. And then another child would come in, a year or two later, and same story of their sexual abuse, raping, molesting children, and nobody ever told. The parents were shocked. Over and over, I'm like, how do they find children who don't talk? I would have gone like, excuse me, teacher, I was in the bathroom and this happened and it's not okay. Mom, Dad, excuse me, this has got to stop. None of them ever told. And then, you got to call social services and they got to contact the families and the children are all like, oh yeah, he did that. 3 years ago or 4 years ago, they never got the help because they didn't talk. So finally, like, how do they know which children aren't going to tell? How are they picking their targets? Because we need to know to protect our children. And one after another, years apart, they didn't know each other. They never saw each other. They gave me the same answer. They said, by their eyes. I said, what is it about their eyes that lets you know? They're bigger. Our children that have been traumatized make a target for those that are looking for a victim to hurt again. And they get targeted and targeted and targeted in their whole life. because they're showing. We cannot let them be victims. We have to help them to overcome it. Like little Hannah, big Hannah. She's a ninja. Her dad says she's a warrior princess. Because she was abused, now she's gonna protect those that need protection. She's gonna be a United States Marine. She's gonna protect those that need protection. She's gone that way. But they either go that way or they go, I'm a victim. Poor me. I have to eat my green beans. It's so sad. My mom made me make my bed. You know, and everything is just this drama. And they identify with, I'm a victim. And then when we allow that, they park in a dark alley at 2 o'clock in the morning to go get their car and they get victimized. They create a victimization their entire life and they're miserable. So we can't fuel that. We have to just be really aware. But Big Sister Rocco over here, that's how they draw the eyes of someone they see as a victim, someone they see as fearful, okay? And the rest of the picture, I think, is the most interesting part. Mom's got a big grin on her face. She's bald, but she's smiling. Okay, this is a mom who's like, I've kept the peace all day. Lasha only eats macaroni and cheese, so we're all eating macaroni and cheese. Lasha gets really upset if we talk about homework, so we won't even mention it. I'll make all the beds so we don't have to deal with that. And then it's like, I'm such a good mom. She didn't throw a fit all day. Who's in control? Lasha's pathology is running the house. Not okay. So she's become a doormat. What I want, what I need is nothing. You know, I haven't had a hot meal in 10 years because I have to get up and get more ketchup and more milk and more. You sit down to eat, whatever's on the table is what's on the table. You don't get up and get more. This is what we're having. Okay? So, if you forgot the ketchup, no problem. They'll have ketchup another day. I've had children that think they have to have ketchup 3 meals a day. You know, ketchup has more sugar in it than anything else. It's the main ingredient. The ketchup we used on the hamburgers the other day, I made. It had allulose in it. Okay, so there wasn't any yucky stuff. Mustard doesn't have sugar in it. All right, then we got Dad. Dad has no feet. How far are you going with no feet? Not far. He has no hands. What can you do with no hands and no feet? They see this dad as inept and useless. He has his eyes closed. They don't even see him seeing them. Can he protect that family? So, and he's tiny. Mom actually has the smallest head. She's a pea-bear. Okay? But she's a doormat underneath Lasha. They let Lasha take over the house. It cannot work and function. They cannot heal if the child is leading the parent. It doesn't matter what they want. It matters what they need. So we're going to meet those needs so that when they grow up, they can get what they want. What they want right now doesn't matter. What they need is huge for them to heal. Okay? So we're going to keep saying yes to the needs, no to the wants. And there are no choices. Would you like this? Would you like that? It's like, here's lunch. Here's the game we're playing. Here's what we're doing now. All right? And if they balk, those of you that have your 5 joules per child, when you have a flight check, you take them by the hand and you come with me, you go to the teepee, okay? They got a chair in there and they will help coach you with whatever you're stuck on and they'll help you with it until you've done 5 flight checks in there. Then you can do flight checks wherever you are. We're gonna put a mini tramp in the dining hall so you can just have them jump there. They can do a sit, you know, wherever out and about. We'd like you to all get through that before you go home and you're, you know, out there doing it. We want you to build those skills. So get your eagle eyes going, catch every teeny little thing that they're doing so that you can do that skill building that you need to have here. All right?
Nancy, I have a question. Is there a difference in like a mini tramp and then a big trampoline?
They both get the same up and down movement. When he's on the big trampoline, you have to be within 6 feet of him.
Right.
So I just found, unless my vegetable garden is right next to the trampoline, I'm stuck. So I liked the mini tramp because I could still cook and, you know, whatever. But the big trampoline, if you like to jump, you know, it's great. And they love it and it wears them out. They sleep better. The trampoline, NASA did research to find out what exercise they could do in weightless conditions. And one of the things they tested was the mini trampoline. And they found it increases our lymphatic system, we fight germs better, it increases our circulation. When we have a child with constipation, it helps clean that all out. It helps the bladder to clean, you know, if they get on there and jump for a couple minutes, they have to go to the bathroom, which is perfect, because when they get plugged up, they get aggressive. Their just body's reabsorbing the toxins, it's yucky. So the mini tramp or the big trampoline really is very good for the body. It's just the big trampoline, we have safety rules, they won't obey. So they're in there trying to do flips and breaking their neck and, you know, whatever stuff, okay?